Tonight, President Akufo-Addo takes on the opposition NDC, saying their incessant peddling of falsehood about his government will not stand. He's predicting that the NDC will stay in opposition for a very long time.
These are people who are looking at a long period in opposition. In their desperation to get to power, they're prepared to say anything. And what is the purpose of coming back to power? To continue the program of create, loot, and share.
We'll be live in the Eastern region where the president is on a 3-day visit and get you reactions from the NDC as well. Also here on Top Story, minority points to financial crisis in the energy sector and not gas shortage for what appears to be the erratic power supply regime being experienced in the country.
My checks indicate that there's a major problem. The IPPs are not being paid what is due them, and the IPPs are owed huge sums of money. And so there's a huge backlog. This year alone, ECG projects that they're going to make a loss of about 2 billion Ghana.
Meanwhile, complaints are growing over erratic power supply in parts of the country. We'll definitely get you answers from those paid to give us, and also some reactions coming up here on Top Story, brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Gasam Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And Nationwide Medical Health Insurance, your healthcare family. Your approach to politics is backward, and you will stay in opposition for a long period. That's President Akufo-Addo to the opposition National Democratic Congress, incensed by what he describes as the NDC's falsehood to make his government unpopular in the Krobo areas of the Eastern region. President Akufo-Addo refuted claims his government is working to relocate the Eastern Regional University of Environment and Sustainable Development from Somanya to Bunso. He was addressing a mini debate at Krobo as part of his tour of the Eastern region.
This is the misinformation that is being peddled by our political opponents. These are people who are looking at a long period in opposition. And as they realize that, they get more and more desperate in their utterances and in the fabrication that they're doing before the people of Ghana. The purpose is very simple. They want, in their desperation to get to power, they're prepared to say anything. And what is the purpose of coming back to power? To continue the program of create, loot, and share. That program is dead in Ghana. It will not happen again. That's not the program that the people of Ghana are looking for. But the misinformation has gone to the extent that Nene Aite Ayubokwe II even put the question to me that I'm going to give you some clear answers. There is only one University of Environment and Sustainable Development here in the Eastern region. One. It is the first public university in the Eastern region. Yes. It has only one vice chancellor. Yes. It has one administrative headquarters. Yes. And that the vice chancellor's residence is being there. They've started building it here. The administrative headquarters is also being built here as we speak. And the contents of the agreement that we had with the Italians were being so good enough to provide us with 45 million euros to build this university does not allow me to turn this university to Bunso. It does not allow me to do that. But it's obvious and I will never run away from it. I come from the area of Bunso. Yes. So it's very easy for them to come and tell you, oh, he's come to office and all the things that are meant for you, he's now taking it to his hometown. That is not the basis on which I am governing Ghana. I'm not standing just for the people of Akyem Abuakwa or Bunso. I stand for the entire nation of Ghana. That is my...
Also, President Akufo-Addo affirms his government's resolve to ensure even development across the country.
For the people of Akyem Abuakwa or Bunso, I stand for the entire nation of Ghana. That is my... So many. Then I hope that I've made myself very clear to you this morning. I'm happy to see you standing up to acknowledge. So let's all be clear in our mind what's going on. Don't let us get distracted. Let's encourage these contractors to finish. I'm hoping that by July next year, the university will be completed, and it will give me the opportunity to come back here to this campus to inaugurate the new university.
You heard the President Akufo-Addo this morning during his the first day of his Eastern Regional Tour. We'll definitely speak to our correspondent Maxwell Kudeko for the very latest and where the President has been so far. But he's been making some statements towards the NDC and saying that their incessant peddling of falsehood would not stand. And it looks like he's pointing to the fact that they will stay in opposition for a long period. The man in charge of communications for the NDC is Sambi Gyamfi, and he joins us live here on Top Story. Thank you very much for your time on Top Story, and congratulations once again, Mr. Gyamfi. But first of all, you heard the President. He's been referring to the University of Environment and Sustainable Development. There have been talks that it will be relocated from Somanya to Bunso. The President has been reacting strongly to it. He says that systems are in place and it will not allow him to relocate the university to Bunso, and that you are peddling falsehood. And if you continue on that path, you will stay in opposition for a very long time.
Thank you very much, Emefa. I think it's clear that the only person who is peddling falsehood in this matter is no other but His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Clearly, it appears that the handlers of the President who briefed him on this issue have done a great disservice to him, because our President is confusing the issues. At no point in time, at no point in the discussion of the relocation of the campus of the University of Energy, Environment and Sustainable Development have we in the NDC suggested that this government intends to relocate the campus, the Somanya campus of the university from Somanya to Bunso. And I think that the President must get his facts right. What the minority caucus in Parliament suggested was that we expressed our objection to government's intention to relocate the Donko Krum campus of the university to Bunso. And I think the two are different, because if you look at Section 3 of Act 898, which is the law establishing the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, it is clear that the university shall be established in Somanya with campuses in Donko Krum and other places as the University Council may determine. Our contention at the time was that it was wrong for government to circumvent the law and for government to establish a whole new campus at Bunso Junction in contravention of the law. Because if you look at the original plan that we passed in Parliament, it was clear that the campuses which is approved by law is the Somanya campus of the university and the Donko Krum campus. At no point have we suggested that this government intends to relocate the Somanya campus of the university to Bunso. Rather, we suggested that this government intends to relocate the Donko Krum campus of the university rather to Bunso Junction. And that is supported by the facts, because somewhere June, July 2018, I'm sure you are aware that this government presented before the August House of Parliament a $90 million loan facility for the construction of the Bunsu, campus of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development. And that is what we kicked against, because we saw that to be discriminatory. We saw that to be in contravention of the law establishing the university. And we thought that could pitch those communities against each other. And that is why we raised that issue. And so clearly the president has gotten his facts wrong in this case, and he needs to get back to his handlers and get the real facts in this issue. But MFA, did I hear our president talk about create, loot, and share?
We'll definitely come to that shortly. We'll definitely come to that. But this latest introduction, because it looks like the whole argument from the very onset has been about the Somanya campus. Now I'm hearing you talk about Donkokrom campus, because we've even had, residents of that area agitating. They've gone on demonstrations, and the issue was about Somanya campus. We've had Minority, at least the former Deputy Education Minister, also make reference to this campus. But the president has also been saying that there's largely just one campus, and he's surprised that you would say that he was working to relocate it to Bunsu, because the systems in place will not allow it. The law will not allow him to be able to do so. So where did we get that from in the first place?
My dear, I think we must be factual in our discussion of this issue. If you look at the statement which was issued by Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa on behalf of the Minority Caucus a couple of months ago, at no point did he refer to the Somanya campus of the university being relocated to Bunsu. I think you can get back to that statement and check for yourself. The claim we made at the time was that we had unimpeachable information which suggested that government intended to relocate the Donkokrom campus of the university to Bunsu. That is a fact. And you can cross-check that from the various publications that My John Online even did on the story, and from the statement that Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa issued for and on behalf of the Minority Caucus on this matter. That is very clear. And so it is wrong for the president to suggest that we had claimed in the past that government intended to relocate the Somanya campus of the university. Yes, it is true that the natives of the area, specifically, if I remember correctly, the Krobo Youth Association came out a couple of months ago to demonstrate and to speak against what they termed attempts by this government to relocate the Somanya campus of the university. We need to put that in context. At the time, if you listen to the youth of Krobo, what they spoke about was that government had gone to SM Bank, South Korea, for a facility of $90 million to commence the construction of the Bunsu campus of the university. And for them, that was wrong, because if you look at the original plan, the Somanya campus is the main campus of the university. And so for them, that should have been the first point of call for government. That was what gave them cause to believe that maybe there was some subtle attempt to relocate the university from Somanya to Bunsu. That is a claim which emanated from the youth and from the people of Krobo, because they thought that government should have commenced with the Somanya campus of the university rather than the Bunsu campus of the university.
Okay, so indeed, Mr. Ablakwa made reference to the Donkokrom. So Mr. Gyamfi,
the statement which was issued. Hello?
Yes, Gyamfi, I'm listening to you, Mr. Gyamfi.
If you look at the statement which was issued by the Minority Caucus, we were very clear that it was unlawful and improper for government to seek to establish a whole new campus at Bunsu rather than Somanya and Donkokrom. Because if you look at the law establishing the university, that is the University of Environment and Sustainable Development Act of 2015, Act 898, and you look at specifically Section 3, it says that the university shall be established in Somanya with campuses at Donkokrom and any other places as the council may determine. At the time government was making that decision, at the time government was procuring that $90 million facility for the Bunsu campus of the university, there was no university council in place. And so that was unlawful. That was unconstitutional. That was discriminatory. And that is what we spoke against. And so We were very factual in our criticism.
But you see, making reference to a statement also from the Ministry of Education, the president is also pointing to it, that there was no initial plan in the first place to even cite a campus in Donkokrom. It's only one campus, so he's actually surprised that this Donkokrom campus issue is even coming up, let alone for it to be relocated to Bonsu.
Then that is the point I'm making, that the president is not being factual on this matter. And clearly he's getting his facts wrong. You see, facts are sacred. You are a journalist. You can Google the establishing law, that is the University of Environment and Sustainable Development Act of 2015, Act 898. Look at Section 3 of the Act. If I can quote that for you, what it says is that the university shall be established at Solmenya, with campuses at Donkokrom and any other places as the council may determine. This is written black and white in the law. And so it is ignorant, and it is actually erroneous, if I can put it that way, for the president to suggest that the university has only one campus. I think that the president must read the law and appreciate the content of the law. And
so if the University Council has other rights to establish other campuses in other parts of the country, should they decide to cite it in Bonsu, will they be contravening the law?
That would not be in contravention of the law, and that is what we called for. But at the time government was taking that decision, there was no University Council. You understand? And we must also appreciate the fact that if you look at the way the law is framed, it is clear that the main campus of the university is supposed to be sited at Solmenya, and the satellite campus of the university sited at Donkokrom. Any other campuses can also be established in accordance with the decisions of the council later. So that is why the youth of Krobo came out and said that if per the law, Solmenya is supposed to be the main campus, then why do you go out there, procure a $90 million loan facility for another university at Bonsu when you have done nothing relative to the Solmenya main campus of the university and the Donkokrom satellite campuses of the university? Government itself has conceded. If you look at the Ministry of Education's statement, which they issued in response to what Minority Caucus issued, they conceded that they were relocating the Donkokrom campus of the university to Bonsu.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you look at the parliamentary hazard, which captured the debate on this matter, I think dated 13th July 2018, you read the arguments of Honorable Nitihu, who spoke for government on the floor of the House. He conceded that they were relocating the campus of the university from Donkokrom to Bonsu because the Koreans had carried out some feasibility studies, and they felt that because Bonsu had an agri college at Bonsu Junction already, it was proper for them to site the university there. So it is not in doubt that government has attempted, and government is actually bent on relocating the Donkokrom campus of the university to Bonsu Junction.
So Mr. Gyamfi, if I may, Mr. Gyamfi, if I may, so if the president has the final say on this matter, he stated today, assuring the chiefs. If I may. So you heard the president today assuring the chiefs and the residents of the area that he has no intentions whatsoever. At least he leads this government. He has no intentions whatsoever to relocate this campus that we're talking about. Does that satisfy you?
Not at all. The president today addressed the people, the chiefs and people of Solmenya. Now, that has never been a question. That has never been an issue. The issue here is that we are against the decision of this government to circumvent the law and to relocate the Donkokrom campus of the university to Bonsu. That is the argument. It has never been about the Solmenya campus. And
so you insist that there's still a move to relocate the Donkokrom campus to Bonsu.
It's not about I insisting. It is a fact. It's a matter of public record that this government has presented a loan facility of $90 million from Exim Bank South Korea for the establishment of the university, a campus of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development at Bonsu. That is a fact.
Very well. So he raises other issues that you were hoping to react to. He's saying that you are peddling falsehood, and that if you continue on this path, you're going to stay in the position for a very long time. He also states that what do you want to come back to power for? To create loot and share?
You see, it is sad that our presidents have chosen to continue this narrative of create, loot, and share, because this is one of the many lies which the NPP peddled in opposition against the ex-Wal Mahama regime, which led the people of this country to reject the impressive government of John Dramani Mahama for this Akufo-Addo government, which has turned out to be a fraud. Our president is currently suffering from a credibility deficit. And I think that doesn't augur well for his own integrity and for the integrity of his government. This is the very person who accused us, while in opposition, of printing presidential diaries at a cost of $10 million. President Akufo-Addo is the very person who accused the ex-Wal regime for padding and inflating the cost of the Kaswa interchange, the Ridge Hospital, the rehabilitation of the Kumasi expansion and the Kumasi airports, and so on and so forth. He's been in office for 2 years. My sister hasn't been able to adduce a scintilla of evidence to buttress all these claims of corruption he made against us. Who has he successfully prosecuted since he assumed office? You understand? So I think it doesn't augur well for the credibility and the integrity of government when our president speaks in this manner. We want to come back to government not to create loot and share like they are doing, but rather we want to come back and restore this country back to the path of development and progress. We want to come back and continue the many infrastructural projects we began in the educational sector, in the health sector, in the energy sector, in the aviation sector, which his government has abandoned. We want to come back and reverse the unprecedented culture of nepotism and cronyism which he has introduced into the body politics of this country. And we want to come back into government to rescue the people of this country from the insensitivity of his government, which has brought untold and unbearable hardship on the vast majority of our people. If the president wants to talk about create, loot, and share, he should look at his own government, because his government is now an epitome and an embodiment of corruption. He has now turned himself into a clearing agent who clears his errant appointees of corrupt acts. If you look at the National Lotteries Authority scandal, the Australian visa racketeering scandal, the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company scandal,
and all these were investigated, weren't they? They were all investigated, weren't they?
Not at all.
They were investigated, and that's the fact. You know that.
The National Lotteries Authority scandal, where in one day, 11 contracts were awarded by the CEO of the National Lotteries Authority to his own sister, has not been investigated. The procurement officer for the National Lotteries Authority came on your station and spoke about how they circumvented the public procurement law to, if you like, award these 11 contracts to the sister-in-law of the CEO of the National Lotteries Authority.
Mr. Sammy Gyamfi,
5 million liters of contaminated fuel was sold by Box in flagrant disregard for the Public Procurement Act. What has the president done about that?
And that was investigated too, and you know that for a fact, Sammy Gyamfi. He's a man in charge of communications for the NDC. We are grateful for your time, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. That's all time will allow us at this point. Of course, we're still working the lines to get some reactions from government also on this claims made by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. But Maxwell Kudeko is with the president and he's joined us on the line. He's our correspondent and has been following the president on the first day of his tour. So, Maxwell, bring us up to speed on where the president has been so far and what's been the message apart from what we've heard him say about the University of Environment and Sustainable Development.
The president commenced the tour in the Yulokrobo district, precisely Somenya, where the University of Environment and Sustainable Development campus is being built. And the president, in his address, was was directly responding to a question posed by a divisional chief who also represented the Yulokrobo traditional area during the inspection. One, Nene Ayete Aboka, the second. The chief asked the president whether the president was going to take the university from Somenya. So in response to the chief's question, and then also in the president bid to correct a perceived misconception about the university, he said that there is only one University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Ghana, and that university is headquarters in Somenya. He said that it is evident that construction of the administrative headquarters, the Vice Chancellor's facilities and other key staff facilities, including some faculty, were ongoing. He said that later by next year, he will be back to Somenya to commission the school properly and commence admission, and then also the first batch would be enrolled. After Somenya, the president went to the Sojaman municipality, where he inspected or he commissioned one project under the one district, one factory policy in a community called Sedom. There is this company that are harvesting trees for export in the Volta Lake. President says that government has invested into that project, and that project is employing hundreds of residents within the Sedom area. From there, we did a stopover. We went to the Akosombo Testa Limited, where government has also invested much into the Akosombo Testa Limited, one of the premium tester companies in Ghana producing tester. At ATL in Akosombo, the Minister of Trade, Honorable Alan Chamartin, hinted that government has put in place measures to curb the importation of fake testers into the country. So the Akosombo Tester Limited management should be rest assured that importation of fake testers into the country that serve as an impediment to their growth has been kept. So he said that a lot of money has been invested in ATL now, and hundreds of people have also gained employment. And presently, we are at a village called Inchenwa in the constituency, in the Honorable Dambocho constituency. The president is inspecting a major road construction that starts from a community called Amanfrom to Tinkon. It's a major road that connects the Krapim area to a bypass that connects to Koforidia. The road has never seen a quota since the community emerged. So the president is present here inspecting this project, and there is also a mini deba of the chiefs and people of Inchenwa that the president will address. We just got to Inchenwa here. The president just entered the background.
So where is he headed to tomorrow? But before you answer that, I would want to find out, we know earlier that there was a directive for school children to line up the streets to receive the president as he went to Akosombo. Did we see that? Because we know there was a reversal. Did it really happen?
That is one of the key things most journalists were looking out for, because the issue emanated from the Sojaman area, right from Pong through to the communities surrounding the main road. We were looking out to seeing such children, but unfortunately, the people we saw on the road are party people who were in party paraphernalia, who were once in a while you see them on the road, and then also they will be waving at. The only place that I saw a lot of school children, most of them are, I won't say school children, they are within the ages of 13 thereabouts. So you can say that they are junior high students. We saw some of these students in the Oke constituency, especially the main Edukrom town. That was a whistle stop. There were a chunk of community members who have paraded on the main street, awaiting to see the president. So in the Edukrom area, we saw a couple of school children in uniform, but I won't say that they are children, they are students, because you realize that they are a bit, you can classify them as adults.
Okay, Max, so Max, briefly, Max, where is the president heading tomorrow?
The president, we are told, will be going to the Ofuasi Ayebi constituency and the Odan constituency. We are told in Ofuasi Ayebi, the president will be commissioning a district police headquarters and a fire station in Ofuasi for the Ofuasi Ayebi district. And also, there will also be a commission of a water supply system that supply water to part of Eastern region and the Central region. That's a major intervention we are told started from President Kufuor's time through Professor Mills and President John Mahama's time, and it saw completion under the President Kufuor. So that project will be commissioned tomorrow, we are told. And also there will be an interaction with the...
Maxwell Kudako, so that's our correspondent there. That's all time will allow us at this point. Maxwell, thank you very much. He's still following the president and will bring us latest in our subsequent bulletins. But just before we go, some of your messages that you've sent in, of course, we'll take them later on. But Newsnight starts now. And when we return, we'll be talking about the minority as they point to financial crisis in the energy sector and not gas shortage for what appears to be the erratic power supply regime being experienced in the country. Top story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Gasum Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And Nationwide Medical Health Insurance, your healthcare family.